Alrighty, guys. Good evening. I'm Ryan alongside Alex tonight. Michigan Storm
Evening,
Chasers
guys.
here. We are going to go over a updated forecast package for you guys. A bit quicker of a stream tonight is expected just because data has kind of consolidated. We have a better idea of what to expect here. So let's go ahead and jump right on into the forecast. So I just want to first off say thank you for joining us tonight. Let's go ahead and dive right on in. So starting with the model here, we have the piece of energy we've been tracking for the longest time is now on land being sampled by our weather balloon network. So data has become much more reliable. We're going to use the NAM3 tonight because that's the model we kind of agree with the most in terms of the accumulation thinking. We're going to go ahead and run out the Euro to start here just to show you guys what we're looking at over the next couple of hours here. So starting with right now, we are seeing the system we talked about off to our south, passing in the Ohio Valley region, moving off into the northeast, not going to affect us. Some of you guys got light lake effect snow showers last night and also some showers this morning as well. That is moved off, and now our attention turns to the west where the system is developing over the plains and is moving up our direction as we speak. Let's go ahead and take a full screen here. So this is the European. Let's go hour by hour here. This is tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. All right. Now you're going to notice probably some snow in the western part of the lower peninsula here. That is likely not going to be reaching the ground at that point. It has to saturate the atmosphere first. So it's going to take a few hours for it to actually start snowing. All right. So moving this into the late morning, early afternoon time frame, we're going to notice the snow is going to move in right about here. This model paused is now at 4 p.m. on tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday. You can see the snow is pretty much overtaken the entire state here, but the darker blues there, the heavier snow, is still off to the south and west. That will move up later on in the evening, roughly 7 o'clock or so. Heavier snow, moderate to heavier snow will overspread the state. That will continue to overspread the state through the evening. Here's 10 o'clock tomorrow evening. And then 1 a.m. in the morning on your Thursday, that heavy snow begins to move off into Canada, and it leaves us with some lighter snow showers there to start our Thursday before clearing up completely by around that noon time frame. Perhaps some snow showers lingering early afternoon on Thursday, but by the time noon rolls around on Thursday, we should be a-okay. Conditions should be improving. Now, going over the NAM model in particular, we're going to go ahead and do the high resolution composite reflectivity type. This is a similar picture here, just kind of showing you guys a little bit better of an idea of where the heavier snow is, perhaps when it's going to start. So this is tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Moving this into the noon time frame, which is right about here. Here comes the snow in for the early afternoon. It's going to take a few hours for it to penetrate and saturate the atmosphere. So right around 4 or so o'clock is where we kind of expect snow to begin across western parts of Michigan. That will continue to take over the state here. And then notice the mix of freezing rain and sleet. If we zoom in here, you can see how close that is to the southeast part of Michigan. Some of that may mix up into like Monroe, Wayne, Washtenaw, Lenawee, Hillsdale, perhaps Branch County as well. The very southeast tier of counties especially could mix in some sleet and freezing rain as we get into the early part of the evening on Wednesday. But pretty much as of current thinking, it should be, we're going to say 75 to 90% mostly snow for you guys for the southeast. We'll get to our forecast here in a second as well to kind of give you guys a better idea of what we're thinking. Now, going forward, notice that freezing line, we're going to call it the freezing line, is still sitting off to the south here. But when we move into the early parts of the Thursday timeframe, that does move up into portions of Michigan, as we had just mentioned. Lenawee, Monroe, Washtenaw, Wayne County there, mixing in some sleet and freezing rain at times. That will continue. Then heavier snow on the backside of that continues right around 3, 4, 5 a.m. time frame. And then by the time you get to the morning commute, that snow is moving out, just some light showers to keep an eye on for your Thursday morning time frame. Lake effect may kick up briefly behind it. No major accumulation with that lake effect response is expected. Now, putting it all together on a model, here is your snowfall. This is the model we most agree with currently. It's the NAM3. We're going to run this through. We're going to start and we're going to stop it here right about here. We're seeing our first snowflakes. This is at 2 to 3 o'clock here. We're starting to see a dusting down here in the southwest part of Michigan. But it's not really until we get to that 4 or 5 o'clock time frame where the accumulations really start piling up here across the state. So that is going to be the main concern. Right around 4, 5, 6 o'clock time frame, we're going to start becoming a little bit more so concerned for the first snowflakes. It's going to start deteriorating road conditions. It's just going to get worse from there on out. So going into the future here, going toward that midnight time frame, we're going to pause it at midnight. We have a good swath there developing in south and central lower Michigan of right around 2 to 4 inches at this point. Moving into the morning hours, we're going to see a nice band of heavier snow take shape. By the time we get to Thursday at noon, this is what the model says: a wide swath of 3 to 6 plus, 4 to 7 plus. Up in the thumb could see as much as 8 or 9 inches. We're thinking a little bit higher than this based on the latest guidance, becoming a little bit more moist. So overall speaking, we are going with an official forecast, which is as follows. Give me a second to pull up on the screen. Here we go. Starting with our snowfall forecast, updated 5 to 9 across that general area from Niles, Kalamazoo, Lansing, up toward the Tri-Cities, Port Austin, down to Port Huron area. Pink is the color I'm color I'm referencing there. And then around it, we have gone a blanketed 3 to 6 inches of snow from basically all the way up to Sheboygan, Traverse City areas. Could see a little bit lesser amounts up very close to like Mackinac or just Lake Michigan in general. But generally speaking, 3 to 6 in a blanket, and then 5 to 9 in a heavier swath here on the central and southern part of the state. That could still shift in tomorrow's outlooks. Again, these systems can and do sometimes shift, but because we're getting really close to this event, anything major, like, significant shifts, not expected. So this could move like a half county or a county or so at most. Generally speaking, this is what we're going with. This is what we should end up with. We'll make a final adjustment tomorrow morning if needed. But as of right now, this is our forecast here as you are seeing on your screen. In terms of ice, because we had a southeastern shift, we are moving most of the higher ice totals out of the state to the south into Ohio. We still could see a nice glaze of ice across the 94 corridor, especially Detroit, Ann Arbor, Adrian, Monroe areas. Could be as far west as like Jackson, Coldwater, maybe even Niles. A nice glaze of ice is possible. Generally speaking, though, higher ice totals would be further east toward the Lake Erie Canadian border. But we did highlight this just to be safe in case we do get some glazing occurring a little bit further north or west. All right. Now, in terms of timing, your first snowflake. Now, I want to highlight that what I just said, first snowflakes. This is not the system time frame. It's not all going to fall within these ranges. This is when it's going to start. So expect snow in the southwest part and also the central part of the UP, 5 to 8 p.m. Go into the central part of the state, expect snow to begin 6 to 9 p.m. This is, again, Wednesday evening. And then the green there, 7 to 10 p.m. If you're way up there by Sault Ste. Marie, could be as late as 11 o'clock. But overall speaking, between 5 and 10 p.m., expect this to really start ramping up here. Heaviest of snow centered right around 10 o'clock or so in the evening through about that 6 o'clock in the morning time frame. So most of it's going to fall while we're sleeping, which is kind of good news. But generally speaking, it'll make travel slick overnight Wednesday, and especially for your Thursday morning commute, it will be quite slick out there. We have numerous winter weather advisories, winter storm watches still in effect. A lot of you guys have asked, why didn't they upgrade the warnings? The reason being is because low confidence is currently the main driving factor for not upgrading these to warnings. You need kind of higher confidence to really increase like six or more inches, I believe it is, Alex, in a shorter amount of time. We're going to be right about that 6-inch threshold for a lot of these areas. So advisory is just kind of communicate more so impactful snow. Warnings are still possible, especially up in the thumb region. We still could see higher accumulations, 8, 9, 10 inches up there. We may see warnings yet in some of these areas. Late upgrades, definitely a possibility, but still, whether it's an advisory or warning, it's still going to be impactful either way. Snow's on its way still. It's just not going to meet the official criteria in some spots for that official winter storm warning. Last but not least, we have 6 graphs here. I'm going to show you guys these pretty quickly. They're called our impact arrows. They kind of communicate timing and impacts based on the amount of snow that's going to fall at that time, and also traffic forecast as well. So top graph there is for your precip. Bottom graph is for your traffic. You can really see it really picks up 10 o'clock to about 6 o'clock. There in the purple, we're going travel unadvised because of heavier snowfall rates expected. This is, again, for Southeast Michigan. Next graph here is going to be for Southwest or West Michigan. Same thing really applies there. Between roughly 10 o'clock and about 4 o'clock in the morning, the heaviest will fall. And then going up to the northern lower Michigan, we're going a little bit, we're not going to go extreme or not advised just because snowfall is going to be a little bit lighter up there. Generally speaking, still going to be impactful to travel, going high impacts there for both precip rates and traffic through about that Thursday morning time frame. Then going up to the UP, we're going to the eastern part of the UP here. We'll be having 1 to 3 inches of snow and maybe 4 in spots. Generally speaking, centered around that late evening tomorrow time frame. And then finally, the western UP, you guys just going medium impacts because trace to an inch is not going to amount too much up there for you guys to be concerned for anything major impact wise. That is our full forecast package with you guys. So I'm going to take that off the screen, pop Alex and myself back on here, and we are going to, holy cow, comment section is blowing up here. So,
oh yeah, wow.
I had 250 comments here. So thank you, Ashley, for membership for another month here. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Ashley.
If you guys got questions, we have about 2,000 you guys here in chat tonight, so bear with us. We're not going to get to all your questions, but we will take questions from you guys and try to get to most of them. Red Dozer with 20 gifted memberships here. Thank you, Red, as always, for your generosity.
Thank you.
So school closings, good question there. I would expect school closings to be numerous come Thursday morning. I wouldn't expect there to be any tomorrow speaking just because the snow arrives after school lets out. So tomorrow you should be good, but Thursday I would expect there to be numerous closings across the state.
Yeah, if you guys, another thing to mention too, evening activities for schools, keep an eye on those as the snow comes in the afternoon, evening, if there are any basketball games, anything your kids are in this time of year for after school activities, keep an eye on those as they may be canceled due to the weather coming in after school gets out. But then again, as Ryan had said, numerous school closings are probable on Thursday morning, just due to the fact that the plows will try their best to keep up with everything on the roads. They're going to maintain the main roads, especially overnight, but as they get through tomorrow morning to try and clear them, especially with the rural secondary roads, those are going to be last hit. So be prepared for a lot of slick and snow-covered roads Thursday morning.
Let's see here. So if you're asking for your specific general location for snow amounts, I would highly advise you take a look at our forecast. I'll bring it up here again. 5 to 9 inches is going to be the heaviest swath of snow from roughly that Kalamazoo, Coldwater, Lansing, Jackson, Flint, Tri-City, Bay City, Saginaw, Midland area, up toward Port Austin, Port Hope as well. It's going to come close to Ann Arbor, although it should stay north of Ann Arbor there. It should stay to the west and south of Grand Rapids. That's going to be the heaviest swath of snow. Anywhere outside that, 3 to 6 inches is the accumulated total across the lower peninsula. Unless you're in the UP, then heaviest totals over by the Sioux, where 2 to 4 inches could fall. Marky Mark with a $5 super chat asking, do you think there will be any thunder snow? Alex, what do you think?
Given that we have a decent system coming through with what's called the deformation bands coming through, the trowel coming through later overnight into Thursday morning, there's a chance that some of the heavier bands we could see some, I would say, a 50-50 shot at thunder snow. The signal is, there for maybe an isolated occurrence, but I wouldn't say this is a very high chance, probably. But definitely a chance there with some of the banding that comes in. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see some reports.
Are any further shifts possible? Yes, minor shifts are still possible. We have about 3 more data sets to get through before the snow starts. We have about 11 o'clock tonight. We'll have another data set come out. We'll have 6 a.m. data set and about 11 a.m. data set as well. So 3 more data sets to go through. And yeah, shifting is still a possibility with this. But overall speaking, this should be pretty much set at this current time. Any shifts that do occur will be pretty minor in nature.
Yeah, any shifts overnight tonight will be pretty minor. But again, this system, while it's been tricky, especially the last 24 hours with those bigger shifts, now that the energy is on land and the models have sampled that energy, The tracks that are coming in this afternoon and especially tonight won't be too drastic.
Kendall with a $10 super chat asking, does living in northern Oakland County in Oxford, am I expecting 5 to 9 inches of snow or more? So Kendall, we currently have you in the 5 to 9 inch range on our forecast. That is because, like we talked about yesterday, Kendall, we had a southeast shift overnight that kind of shifted the heavier snow to you. So we're going with a 5 to 9 forecast for you. So in Oxford, I would expect that 5 to 9 range. But anything more than that, I would say I wouldn't expect anything more than 9 inches. I think that's a pretty good high point. Barb with a $5 super chat. When do you expect we'll be able to discuss the Saturday system? Barb, great question. We're not going to talk about it tonight, but we will talk about it on tomorrow's daily YouTube video. We're also probably going to do a stream or at least a forecast discussion on Thursday morning after the system works its way through. So let's just get through this system first, then we'll start focusing on Saturday. There's a lot of uncertainty still. We couldn't give you a good forecast even if we wanted to at this point.
Yeah, there's a really decent good amount of spread still with that system. About 100-mile or so spread still in the ensemble data that we're looking at. And there's a few moving pieces. That's what's tricky about this weekend system. A few moving pieces, and what we call phasing or merging of a couple of systems together. We have some question marks with that, whether it's going to be one big system or a few smaller systems that move through. So a few days still to watch that. Let's get through this system first, and we'll definitely dive in further on that weekend system after we get through this one.
Becca with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Becca, for that. I don't see a question with it, so just thank you for your support there. What's up with J and B? $5 super chat. Is it possible to see an increase in amounts in northern Genesee County, Flint area, and will wind blowing and drifting be an issue? So, two-part question there. So, in terms of higher amounts, I think 5 to 9 is a good range for you. I wouldn't expect there to be any higher. I think the only place really concerning for higher totals would be toward that Lake Huron area in the thumb of Michigan. Like we're talking like Port Austin, Port Hope, Caseville, like areas further east toward Lake Huron. But Flint, Genesee County, I wouldn't expect anything higher. In terms of wind and blowing, drifting, winds are going to blow about 20, 25, maybe 30 miles per hour in spots. So low visibility, yes. Blowing and drifting, minor in nature. Definitely could still see a possibility of that, but I don't expect it to be a huge major blowing drifting event with this event. So Kendo with a $10 super chat. I'm under winter storm watch. Would 5 to 9 put me under winter storm warning? Yes, it would. Anything over, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong. I know you're more knowledgeable on this than I am, but I believe it's 6 inches in a 12 to 24-hour period or so.
Correct. Yeah. So 6 inches in 12 hours, 8 inches in 24 hours for a system. Now, these are variable depending on how fast the system will move. If it's a slower system, for example, and we get that criteria, but it's a longer duration, they may go with an advisory, for example. If winds are involved, it may be a slightly lower amount of snow, but if there's heavy winds that could create blizzard conditions, they may upgrade to that warning too. For this situation, though, and I want to reiterate to people that are confused between the watches, warnings, advisories. There's a lot of different ones out there, so it does get confusing, especially when you see advisories and then watches still in effect for like the thumb. The upgrade to whether you're under a winter storm warning or winter weather advisory, they're both upgrades. The winter weather advisory means it's going to cause a significant inconvenience to you, whether versus a winter storm warning, which will cause um, extreme inconvenience or hazardous conditions to yourself if you're out and about. So a warning is definitely the more serious of the two. However, if you don't take an advisory serious, it can become just as hazardous as a warning. As we've seen earlier, this year with lake effect snow, and even the small amounts of snow that we've issued winter weather or have had issued winter weather advisories issued, and we've had lots of numerous accidents with people just not paying attention to the weather. So you see the 5 to 9 inches of snow, and you're under a winter weather advisory or a winter storm warning. The fact remains that you should still prepare for the system, still take it seriously when it comes to being out there driving. And there is a chance still that warnings may still be required here for the thumb. So check back tomorrow morning. We'll have updated graphics for the watches and warnings if they are upgraded. And even some areas in the advisory right now, if there's more confidence tomorrow morning that we might see those closer to the 7, 8, 9 inch range, some of those advisories may be upgraded to warnings as well.
As far as timing goes, we'll go over that one more time. So for those asking for start times, 5 to 8 p.m. in the white zone there, like Kalamazoo, Coldwater. Go and take this banner off the screen for a second. There you go, guys. 5 to 8 p.m. there in the white areas, Niles, Holland, Kalamazoo, Coldwater areas. Further inland, 6 to 9 p.m. is a start time. Further east in the green zone there, 7 to 10. Up in the Sault Ste. Marie area as late as 11 o'clock. This is, again, start time for the snow tomorrow. Will continue overnight, heaviest between, we're going to say 10 p.m. and about 4 to 6 a.m.-ish. And then it'll start tapering off by the time we get to the commute on Thursday morning. As far as ice and snow amounts, for those of you just tuning in here, we do have a snowfall map. 5 to 9 inches is our forecast as of tonight. As Alex just mentioned, we'll update it tomorrow morning if need be. So one last forecast update from us would be expected tomorrow morning. Elsewhere outside the 5 to 9, 3 to 6 inches is pretty much blanketed across the entire state. Not because it's just trying to go easy on you. We're seeing a potential for a widespread blanket of 3 to 6 inches. Further north, UP, trace to an inch up further west toward Ironwood. 1 to 3 across much of the UP, Marquette, Munising, Manistee, Escanaba, Grand Marais, Newberry, over towards Sault Ste. Marie, Cedarville, Mackinac areas, 2 to 4 inches is the forecast there. As far as ice goes, not much in the way of ice is expected. Could get a nice glaze, though. Any ice is impactful ice. It's just going to slick up roadways. Could create a nice layer underneath the snow that falls. Keep that in mind. So a nice glaze or so across South Michigan. Could see as much as 1/10 of an inch close to Lake Erie or Detroit areas. But generally speaking, current guidance, current thinking is kind of shifting it further out of the state. So we'll keep an eye on that. We're going to keep it there just as precaution. Icing is definitely a possibility, but no major impact besides travel is expected with this ice.
Yeah, that's a good point to make, Ryan, with the map, the snowfall map. This is the first time we've had a really big system like that move through the state. So the amounts are more uniform versus what we've seen previously with like lake effect snow.
Yep.
We've had a lot of maps this year for lake effect snow, the western side of the state, Southwest Michigan, Western Michigan, Northwest Michigan, the UP especially have just been getting hammered at storm after storm with lake effect, whereas the east side of the state, Southeast Michigan, hasn't had much of anything. So for this to be the first bigger system, that's why this map looks a little different. That's why it's more widespread, because the system that comes through is more uniform. As Ryan showed you earlier on the hour by hour with the NAM model, the snow overspreads the entire state, absolutely the entire state of Michigan. So everyone will get in on the moderate to heavy snow at times, with the area that we have, as Ryan's bringing up the map there. So the entire state's going to see that moderate to heavy snow. This isn't lake effect. This is a system snow. So everyone will get in on it. Just some areas will see more in that sweet spot where that system pivots through the heaviest amount of snow, being right there in the center part where Ryan's drawing a circle. So everyone will see snow. Everyone will see accumulating snow. The highest amounts of snow, again, will be in that area that we have outlines in our accumulation map, that 5 to 9, that pink color from Niles, Kalamazoo, Coldwater, Battle Creek, Jackson, Lansing, Flint, Bay City, up to Port Austin, and with some lake enhancements all the way up almost to Alpena there. And everywhere else, that dark blue color, that 3 to 6, for most everyone else in the Lower Peninsula. So be ready. This is definitely the first system we've been kind of waiting for. We knew it was coming. We knew the pattern was setting up that way. So
this pattern is going to be pretty active too. Not going to talk about it now, but we have a system for the weekend, and next week after that looks pretty active as well. So we'll have multiple more chances of rain, mixing, and snow in our near future. So keep that in mind. So going back to chat here, Linodium back for another month here. MSC YouTube, thank you for the joining back up with us. We also have Jeremy with a super chat, says, how much snow will Farmington Hills get? We seem to be on the line, both snow total and maps. Love the Michigan only weather channel. Keep it up. Thank you, Jeremy, for the $5 super chat there. They're in the Farmington Hills area. We are going with, I believe it's going to be close to that 5 to 9, 3 to 6 zone. So take the middle ground of each two or of both totals there. I'd say probably 4 to 6 inches, maybe 4 to 7 would be a good guess for you there in Farmington Hills. You technically, I believe, are in the 3 to 6 zone, but any further southeast, pivots will put you in a higher total, or vice versa. Anything shifting north will put you in a more 3 to 6. But either way, it's going to be impactful either way. Take them out the middle ground of each, 4, 5, 6 inches or so would be the expectation.
Yeah, I would agree.
Mike asked a good question here. Will we see whiteout conditions at times? Alex, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so as Ryan has up right there, I'm not sure what time frame that is on the forecast model there, Ryan, but
1 a.m.
1 a.m. So overnight, during the height of the storm, as that area low pressure moves closest to us, when you see those that dark blue, that's representative of very heavy snow, efficient snowfall rates. So while we may not have very gusty winds will only be in that, maybe 15, 20 to 25 mile an hour range at times. The heavy rates of snowfall will cause reductions in visibility. So while we won't have whiteout conditions in the truest sense, it will be significantly reduced visibility, less than a mile at times, even down to half mile at times, especially if you get that combination of really heavy snow, like in the near half inch to an inch per hour rates at times. So in that really dark banded snow that we'll get overnight, you could have that really, really heavy snowfall. And for a couple of hours, see reduced visibilities.
As far as snowfall rates per hour, we're kind of thinking about a half inch, maybe as much as an inch per hour. But generally speaking, about the half inch an hour rate will be the expectation throughout this event. So it's pretty moderate to heavy snow, I'd say.
Yep.
Apologies, guys. Chat is flying by this evening, so we're not going to get to all your guys' questions. We still got about 1,500 you guys in here, so appreciate your guys' attention, support, and also tuning into us.
Appreciate all the support you guys give us.
Any other questions? Feel free to drop them in chat here. Will it be a wet or lightweight snow? So with temperatures being in the mid 20s during this event, that means the snow is going to be a lot lighter and a lot fluffier speaking. So it'll also blow around a little bit easier as well, contributing to the reduced visibility that Alex just mentioned. So the answer is lighter. It's not going to be a heavy wet snow. Personally appreciate the panic meter. Thanks, guys, for keeping up the great work. Thank you, Renee. That was something new we did this winter time around. We actually have the graphic in here for those who don't know. Good old panicometer we made. So we're at that bread and milk warning now where it's time to start taking your preparations for these winter storm events. Stock up on food, essentials, stuff like that. Make sure you have blankets. It's time to hunker down for a good old Michigan winter storm.
Yeah. I saw a few questions pass through here about timing. If we want to go over the timing map one more time, maybe.
Go for it. Yeah, you can. There we go.
So yeah, again, when we're expecting the snow to begin, kind of pick out your general location on the map here in Michigan. Starting out at the earliest, again, this is when snow is starting. Generally in that 5 p.m. time frame for far southwest lower Michigan, 5 to 8 p.m., extending all the way up into the central UP as well. And then as you move east, northeast through the central part of the state and into the east central part of the state, that 6 to 9 time frame, and then finally for the far eastern part of the state and northeast part of the lower peninsula, 7 to 10 p.m. time frame. And then as we get up into the UP here, Sault Ste. Marie area is going to be the last to kind of see that snow begin around 8 to 11 p.m. So again, Southwest Michigan will start to see the snow first, along with the central part of the UP. And then as you work your way eastward, as we get a little later into the evening, is when your snow will begin tomorrow afternoon.
How is Southern Genesee County looking? How about Saginaw County, Milwaukee area specifically? Sarah, all snow. 5 to 9 inches of snow is how it's looking. I mean, yeah, this is our first, not going to say big storm because it's not really technically a big storm by any means, but still, we haven't had a 5 to 9 inch storm for quite some time.
This is the first, again, big storm of the season. And trying to remember last year if we had a bigger storm like this move through, but yeah, it's been at least that long, a year, since we've had a bigger winter storm move through Michigan.
Do we have a winter storm watch in Wayne County or Detroit? No, you are under a winter weather advisory. It's not going to be, it was a watch earlier this morning, but they flipped that to an advisory. To your north, though, Oakland-Macomb County is in a watch, but overall speaking, Wayne County is going to be less than criteria for winter storm warning. So confidence right now is quite low. We're going to exceed that warning criteria. Do we plan to chase tomorrow? We'll have multiple people out in the field tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Well, yeah, tomorrow evening actually, but Thursday morning especially for road reports and just kind of general reporting purposes. So yes, we'll probably be live at some point throughout this event. Most of this does fall though overnight, so a lot of you guys are gonna be sleeping, but chasers will be out regardless. Adam, welcome to the channel. Thank you for becoming a member here at
Welcome,
MSC
Adam.
YouTube. Welcome to the team. Will anyone get put under a warning? It's possible. They kept the winter storm watch in place for the thumb region and also up there in north eastern lower, and that is because models are hinting at a little bit higher accumulation up there. So if they have more confidence, we could see an upgrade as early as an hour or so. They do a mid-evening update, 9-10 p.m. or so, or we could see an upgrade at 3 or 4 a.m. when they do their official update for package issuing. So we could see an upgrade still, yes. And as well as these counties further, like for example, Barry, Eaton, Ingham, Clinton, Shiawassee, in the swath of heavier snow, if confidence increases on a swath of heavier snow that could exceed criteria for a warning, we could see advisories get upgraded to warnings as well. So overall speaking, yes, warnings are still possible. But regardless, the message is the same. Snow is snow. Slick travel is slick travel, regardless of a warning or advisory. So keep that in mind as well. So for those of you just tuning in, I'll go ahead and pop our forecast graphics up here again. Let's go ahead and go over our snow forecast. We upgraded slow down. We upgraded to a 5 to 9 zone across South Central Lower Michigan. So from basically Kalamazoo, Niles, Coldwater, up through Lansing, Flint, the Tri-Cities, up to the Thumb, up into Northeast Lower there by Au Alpena areas. That's going to be the heavier swath of snow. That could shift minorly in the future. We have about 2 or 3 more model runs to go through before we get to the event. So some minor shifting a possibility, but generally speaking, these totals and amounts are what we're kind of thinking of right now. Outside 5 to 9, 3 to 6, all the way from Detroit, Adrian, Monroe, Port Huron, all the way up to Mount Pleasant, Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Holland, Arcadia, Ludington, Traverse City, Sheboygan. You guys all basically in the 3 to 6 zone. Further north, though, close to like maybe just north of Traverse City, north of Sheboygan there, and up through the Sault Ste. Marie area, 2 to 4 is the forecast. And then for the most part of the UP, 1 to 3 inches. And then further west, trace to an inch there in the white zone. Ice forecast here, trace to about 500ths of an inch. Not much to write home about, but a glaze of ice can slick travel up. So come Thursday morning, or if you're out and about overnight Wednesday, this could become a issue to be concerned about with general travel impacts. Timing will begin tomorrow evening, 5 o'clock or so in the west part of Michigan. It'll move eastward across the state, 6 p.m. there, as early as 6 p.m. in the yellow zones, as early as 7 p.m. there in the green zones. And then up in the blue zone there is as early as 8 p.m. Any other questions here, guys? If you guys are asking about school closings, I'd say Thursday is the day to watch for school closings. Pretty much, I'd say widespread at this point. If you're up there in the UP or very far north and lower, you may have a chance of going to school. But further south, bigger cities, Grand Rapids, Flint, Lansing, Detroit, you guys will probably have no school, or at least, very least, have a delay.
Anything for tomorrow will be generally for evening activities that might be canceled for schools. Still expecting school tomorrow. Most of this, again, as we showed earlier with our timing maps, will be after school lets out. But any evening activities, if your kids have evening activities Wednesday, keep an eye on those as those might be canceled.
Yep. So earliest start time currently thinking is 5 p.m. As Alex just mentioned, that is a few hours after school typically lets out. So we should sneak by for a nice day of school tomorrow. So sorry, kids, if you're watching us, you're probably going to have school most likely tomorrow. All these forecasts we're showing you guys are posted on our Facebook page. They're also pinned. We'll also be posting the traffic impact arrows this evening as well. After we're done streaming here, we'll pop on and post those. Any issues with ice? Not really speaking, but a glaze of ice could still cause travel issues. If you're talking about power issues or tree impacts, not really seeing that.
No.
And as a reminder, we'll be posting, if need be, we'll be posting an update tomorrow morning with new maps and new data. If nothing changes, we'll just kind of repost and say our forecast from last night appears valid. But do expect an update from us tomorrow morning, and also updates throughout the day on snow start times and stuff like that as we move through the afternoon and evening. See a couple questions in here about weather apps. So weather apps are not a good way to get information in terms of snowfall or severe weather. Some apps are good. Some apps are, hit and miss. Some apps are just flat out terrible. I've seen screenshots of AccuWeather or other apps. I'm not going to go through the names, but showing 8 to 14 inches for the system, and other people's are saying an inch. So apps usually base themselves off one model run. If that model run is in left field, way off, it's going to reflect that data. It's why it's important to have human input into their forecast, so we can interpret all points of data and take it into account and then put a forecast out there that's actually valid. So if your weather app is way off, it's pretty typical. It's why we don't really push weather apps. I'll recommend them in general. So
Let's be honest, it's good to have a weather app to check your temperature. What's the temperature right now? Current conditions. Is basic things. Everybody we're not going to lie. Everybody probably does have a weather app to check the temperature and see what see what the basic conditions are. But when it comes to a forecast, especially snowfall, they're pretty much useless just because they only base themselves on one model run, one set of data. and then don't update. So if you use different weather apps, you're going to get different uh, results just given what the app is trying to tell you because it's going off one model run. So, for example, yesterday we had about 3 or 4 different model runs showing snow in 3 or 4 different locations in Michigan, just to give you an example. So don't trust them for snowfall at all. Um, that's why we have the human input here. That's why we forecast here at MSC, to give you the best information possible through our experience.
Just kind of cycling through these forecasts for you guys. So if you guys have questions for ice, snow, or timing, we're just going to kind of rotate these graphics here for a little bit while we answer these questions. So going back to chat here, do you think the thumb will be in an advisory? So Stephanie, thank you for the question. We asked that we don't do caps here in chat. Keep it lowercase, please. It's more so just a general housekeeping rule. But for the thumb especially, the advisory, could see it go either way, advisory or warning, but at very least, you'll have an advisory.
Yeah.
Would you recommend traveling from Chicago to Kalamazoo February 12th evening or February 13th morning? I would definitely go.
That's hard.
That's a hard choice. I would probably say Thursday morning because plows will be able to get out there and clear roads better. But either way you look at it, you're going to be dealing with slick travel. So it's more so pick your poison. I do think conditions will start to improve Thursday morning, though. So I definitely choose that.
Yeah. And if you're traveling main routes, especially highways towards Chicago, the plows will be focused on those more. So
we'll put out a traffic map forecast for Michigan tomorrow morning. We're going to do it tonight, but we just decided to do the impact arrows tonight. We'll do the map tomorrow. I do expect much of the state to be red, though, with some areas sneaking into the unadvised portion of the map. Any lake effect with the system? No, not really seeing much in the way of anything significant for lake effect. We could have some brief showers in spots, but overall accumulations is quite minor in nature. Yeah, for any weekend system, we're going to wait until Thursday to start really keying in on it. Number one, because we have a system to work through first on Wednesday and Thursday here. That's our focus now. And then as we move past that system, our focus will turn to the weekend. Yes, there's potential for another system on the weekend, but at this point in time, talking about it would kind of be confusing for people, but also it's not really, models aren't really agreeing on anything. So to kind of talk about it would just kind of be useless at this point because it could shift out of the state. It could be a rain event for us. We're just not going to talk about it until we have more confidence. And I think that will come Thursday. So it's kind of timed out perfectly. We're going to stay by to one system. We're going to introduce another one.
Yeah.
Just popped in. Isn't 5 to 9 a wide range? Not really in snowfall. When you're forecasting snowfall, it is incredibly hard to get it down to the nearest inch. So just for reference, if you just take rain, for example, do people get mad when we forecast a half inch of rain, you get, a quarter inch or 3/4 inch? Not really. But in snow terms, that could be a difference of 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. So that's kind of how we look at things here in the wintertime. Snow is incredibly difficult to forecast. That's why we have these ranges, that are 3 to 4 inches in spread because models could be a lower end or a higher end. It's extremely hard to get precise with snow. So that's why we have a little bit more of a wider range there. I saw one forecast a couple days ago calling I think it was 2 to 8 or 2 to 9. So I think 5 to 9 is actually a pretty safe forecast compared to that.
Yeah, usually your snowfall forecast will be in ranges of 3 to 4 inches. Most snowfall forecasts you'll look at will have those ranges in there. The 1 to 3 or 2 to 4, 3 to 6. Sometimes 4 to 8 or 5 to 9. An example for this case. So
You have told us when snow is starting, but when is it expected to end? That's a great question, Laura. Let's go ahead and take this graph off your screen, pop up the model run here. This is your snowfall. Let's just go ahead and run it through the entire time frame here, just to kind of give people an idea if people are wondering when it's going to start, what it could look like. Let's go ahead and start from the beginning here. So starting with tomorrow afternoon and evening, snow will begin to work into the state as early as, we're going to say 4 o'clock perhaps. Looks like the model is trying to pick up a little bit of timing here. So perhaps a little bit earlier, 4 or 5 o'clock. It'll overspread the state by the late evening time frame, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. This model here, we're going to start walking you guys through here. 5 o'clock right here. Here's 6, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Notice the mixing starting to work in there for southeast counties. Here's midnight. Here's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Notice that we're starting to clear out there on the west side of Michigan. 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8, 9, and by roughly about 10 or so a.m., that snow is out of the state. We do have some lake effect there on the west side, perhaps some light snow showers there. But for the majority of us, the system will move out by 11 to noon or so Thursday afternoon. So hopefully that answers your question there. Any other questions here, guys? Been live here for about 45 minutes. We're going to wrap things up here fairly soon. Want to say thank you for tuning in with us here, going over the models with us. Again, all these are posted on our page. You can go check those out. If you want to read through our forecast thoughts in a written form, you're more than welcome to do that. They're pinned to the top of our page. We also have highlighted them here in the forecast or here in the video. If you want to start the video over, you can do that as well. We cover the first 10 or 15 minutes going over all the details with this system. So while I have a minute here, I'm going to pop ourselves back on the screen here, and we're going to say a few shout outs here to our sponsors of the video. We do these every stream towards the end of the stream, but we're going to do them now here. We have a couple. We have Lifestyle Exteriors based out of Traverse City and Lansing areas. They do exterior work on your residential homes, from roofing, siding, gutters, stuff like that. 989-854-3055. We have Storm Guard Roofing and Construction based out of Macomb, Oakland County area, Detroit metro area as well. They also do roofing and construction needs for your homes. 248-985-3239. Pro Powder, powder coating needs for residential or commercial use. 269-637-8722. They are out of South Haven. And we also have Clear Plow. Clear Plow makes a unique little tool for your hand truck or dolly, attaches to it, and it lets you push snow. So no more lifting. It also gives you a little bit more of an easier push with wheels. It's pretty unique. So check it out. 248-800-6569. Or you can Google Clear Plow Snow Pushers and find it there as well. So thank you to these sponsors for sponsoring us here at MSC. They keep operational costs up and rolling, as well as you guys here in chat with super chats, memberships. We are a 24/7 operation, full-time here. We cannot be here without sponsor support and your guys' support. So thank you to sponsors and people, viewers like you, who do keep our operations rolling here.
Thank you all.
If you would like to sponsor us, if you have a business, you are more than welcome to send us an email, contact@michiganstormchasers.com. You can also shoot us a message on Facebook. It's pretty easy to do so. So feel free to do that if you would like to get in touch with us and talk about sponsorships. Back to chat here for a few more minutes. Go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say, I saw a couple of comments about out of state, a couple of people traveling out. We also have 2 other channels outside of Michigan that are primarily run by Caleb. Great Lakes Storm Chasing Network covers the Great Lakes region at large for severe weather events and other big systems like the one that's moving through. And then also Indiana Storm Chasing Network covers the state of Indiana. You can check those out, especially I've seen a comment, Victoria's comment where her husband's driving back from Nashville. So if you check out Great Lakes Storm Chasing Network, Indiana Storm Chasing Network, those are our sister channels for
I will also
Victoria.
We'll also mention we also have an affiliate that is not run by us, Ohio News and Weather. It is a Facebook page as well.
Yes. Yep.
They cover all of Ohio. So if you're looking for strictly Ohio coverage, I feel free to go ahead and check them out. Again, it's Ohio News and Weather on Facebook. They do a good work down there too.
Yep.
Not run by
Good
us,
point to make
but
for that.
by a good group of people.
Yeah. And then a couple other comments about the earlier times of snow as well. There could be snowflakes and snow showers beginning as early as, 2, 3 p.m. The reason they start the advisories a little earlier is to cover that wiggle room. We are expecting the steady snow, the snow to start, that steady snow that you'll see to start accumulating by that 4 and especially 5 to 8 p.m. time frame. So those are our time frames again for when the precip is actually going to start. Will there be some spits and light snow beforehand? It's possible, which is why they start the advisory a little earlier as well. So just to cover those comments that I saw come through, that is the reason for the couple of hour difference, just for some wiggle room. I think you're muted, Ryan.
I certainly am. So I was going to say, for those of you wondering about timing and stuff like that, we will do a final update tomorrow if anything changes or shifts. Stay tuned to our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel as well. We'll do a daily update video for impacts, timing, all that jazz. We'll put information out there tomorrow morning as well if anything changes at all. So a few more minutes here. We're going to pop out of here. And as Dawn says here in chat, all maps can be found on our Facebook page, timing amounts and type of preset. It is actually pinned to the top of our page. So feel free to hop over to Facebook. If you're not following us, you can search Michigan Storm Chasers. You'll find us. We have about 286,000 followers or so. Actually, no, it's about 290,000 now. So that is our page. We have a little verified check mark. I'd highly suggest following us as well. We do 24/7 coverage of Michigan weather, severe, winter, Aurora even. So we are here for it all full time. We got you guys covered here. So thank you, Dawn, for that reminder there in chat. No problem, Katie. We love doing this. All right. Any final questions? Last call here for questions. We're going to pop out of here. All right. One last overview here, really quick, for our forecast. And then we're going to pop out of here, guys. So in the 5 to 9 zone, extends from Niles, Kalamazoo, Coldwater, Jackson, Lansing, Ovid, Flint. We're going to say Wixom as well, although Wixom's pretty close to that line. Peck, Bay City, Tri-City area, Port Austin, Port Hope areas, all within the heavier swath of snow that may shift minorly between now and tomorrow morning. If it does, we'll let you guys know. But right now, we kind of think that this is going to be the main swath of heavier snow. Isolated higher amounts could be possible, especially up in the eastern part of the thumb, like Huron County, Sanilac County, perhaps St. Clair County. We could see higher amounts, but generally speaking, 5 to 9 is the going forecast for the pink zone. Around the pink zone, a blanketed 3 to 6 inches of snow. We could see isolated higher amounts in that 3 to 6 zone just because it's a wide area. Wouldn't be shocked if one place got 7 or 8 inches in some spots. Not going to be shocked at all. But generally speaking, 3 to 6 inches is the range that most of you guys will fall under in the dark blue zone. In the UP and also the very tip of the lower peninsula, 2 to 4 is there the forecast. Further west in the 1 to 3 aqua zone, and then further west even more, trace to an inch. This is not lake effect snow. This is a system snow, so it's not going to be impactful, as impactful for the UP this time around. So that is why most accumulation is downstate. So with that being said, last thing we'll go over here is the ice. Not going to expect too much in the way of ice impacts, minus the travel. Could make things slick with a nice glaze out there across southeast Michigan. Trace amounts to about 0.05 of an inch, so enough to get a nice glaze on surfaces, sidewalks, rails, stuff like that. And then also for the timing, as Alex mentioned before we start going over this, about 4 or 5 o'clock start time, and then that's going to continue into the evening. It'll really start wrapping up here mid to late evening, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. Start expecting it to ramp up across the state. Winter weather watches and advisories are in effect These will be updated in the coming hours. We could see some warnings, could see some, upgrades, downgrades, stuff like that. So if anything changes, feel free to follow us on Facebook. All of these updates will be posted as soon as we see them. So with that being said, we are going to pop out of here. If you're looking for impact arrows like these, we'll be posting these momentarily on our Facebook page. So stay tuned for those. I will try to have that up by about 9 o'clock or so. But generally speaking, I'm going to pop out of here. Alex, anything else you want to say?
No, other than new data is starting to come in that continues what we've just basically been talking about.
Perfect.
Namely, HRRR is just beginning to come out. So,
Okay.
kind of good news given that we've just been talking about this system the entire time now. This latest data is kind of reiterating and confirming what we've been talking about. So,
Awesome. All right. With that being said, we are going to pop out of here. You guys have a fantastic night. Stay tuned for updates and also stay safe out there. We got you guys covered here at Michigan Storm Chasers. Thanks for watching.
thanks, guys.